The 5 Pokemon investments that are not worth your time. Now for some good news, in today's video, I am gifting this incredible PSA 10 Japanese 151 Pikachu Art Rare. This is an incredible card from 151 and it is in the highest grade possible. In order to be selected, just follow these 3 steps. Step 1, like the video. Step 2, subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. And step 3, tell me what your favorite Pokemon generation is, along with something you're grateful for. Now, to know if you won, just be on the lookout if I reply to your comment with this Elekid eating a cherry emoji. If you get that specific emoji in your comment reply, well, you've got the PSA 10 Pikachu coming your way. And of course, you can access all these yourself with channel memberships. If you love the content and would like to show the channel some support, feel free to join and the link is in the description. So when it comes to Pokemon investing, it really boils down to 3 simple rules. And that is, number 1, buying the right product. Number 2, buying it below retail price. And number 3, holding it long enough that it can sell for a profit, right? However, the profit you make depends on a lot of different factors. And one of the big things that people who invest in collectibles need to understand is that certain things make certain collectibles rise in value. And these rules are also out of our control. Now, I've been collecting a lot of TCGs for a long time and I have learned so many different things. And after so many years of dabbling in collectibles, there's a few lessons I have learned which I'm going to explore within this video today. What's one of the most important things to understand about collectibles is that not everything makes sense when it comes to collectibles. And when you try play by the rules, you can fail because things completely out of your control can make certain products rise in value. For example, right? Let me paint you a scenario. Evolving Skies is currently the hottest product in Sword and Shield right now, right? There's no doubt about it. It's easily the most desired product from Sword and Shield era. Though that's right now, but in 15 years, that can change completely. You know, maybe a streamer or a celebrity in 15 years from today could say, you know what? Espeon VMAX is the greatest card from the Sword and Shield era, and the community and public perception could completely change and say, you know what? Fusion Strike actually is the greatest set and Evolving Skies is overrated. And then Fusion Strike could overtake Evolving Skies in price. Is it unlikely? Probably. But hey, these things happen and you need to learn to expect the unexpected. If you ask a collector what they thought about Skyridge back in 2003, they would have all said it was the worst Pokemon set within history. Though what was once seen as one of the worst sets in Pokemon is now one of the most expensive Pokemon products in the world. And these are the details and the deep intricacies of collectibles that is something, and it's a part of its elusive magic. Something long in the future can happen that can almost have a complete shift in community viewpoint. And no matter how much we try to guess these things, it would all come down to dumb luck. So you need to know these things that they can happen, and shifts like this can happen without any warning in sight. And that's something that no one can account for, and it's why in sports collecting, collectors load up on these like rookie cards, and they literally load up on them because what they do is they take a risk that if this rookie becomes the next LeBron James, then hey, we've made a fortune, right? So Pokemon, we don't really have these, right? We don't have rookie Pokemon. But what we do have in Pokemon is popular Pokemon. Though believe it or not, that can also change. So Pokemon focuses more on popularity of Pokemon, right? Along with how unique the artworks are. That really is the recipe behind Pokemon cards and their success. So when Pokemon released back in the 90s, the most popular Pokemon was Charizard. Though when Pokemon Go came out, the most searched Pokemon in the world wasn't Charizard. It was in fact Mewtwo. And Mewtwo was the most searched Pokemon on Google all the way throughout 2019 during the Detective Pikachu movie. And then when the COVID boom happened, it switched back to Charizard. And now Charizard is like the key winner. And that's probably why every second year it seems we are getting some sort of new Charizard collection box coming up, because Pokemon know how much of a fan favorite it really is. But new collectors who enter the scene, they could have different Pokemon that they love. So like we can even see now Greninja is really loved. Though that makes a lot of sense because it's one of the characters in the Smash Bros series, and it's also the Charizard for the 3DS community. A lot of kids who are growing up now would probably prefer Greninja over Charizard because that was their generation starter Pokemon. So sentiment can always change. Though in terms of the 5 Pokemon investments that I believe are a complete waste of money, here they are. The first investment that I believe is not worth your time is loose vintage packs. These things are a straight up nightmare. I know I am not a vintage hater and I have nothing against vintage. It's just that they are a landmine of problems. These things are literally like pass the parcel. They've been meddled with so many different hands over the years, and buying these packs is just like no different to gambling. You know, you've got people who weigh packs to see if they have a holo. You have issues with resealing. You have problems with how collectors have stored these items over the years. You have issues with legitimacy. There are just so many problems that you cannot plan for. And on top of all that, because they have been stored with so many different people, no one can actually guarantee the quality of the cards inside these packs. They could have been stored under weight or shuffled or moved around. You are literally buying someone else's problem. Now, another part of this, it kind of doesn't even matter how reputable a seller is, because unless the seller specifically bought those packs themselves back all those years ago, the risk is always there. And if you watch people ripping older packs, you'll see that it's very common for them to stumble upon a pack that's been tampered with. So when looking at this through an investing lens, it's just never worth your time. And now with new threats entering the scene, there's just better places to invest when it comes to collectibles. Now, number 2 is modern cards that are PSA 9s or lower. I never bother with anything modern unless it's a PSA 10. Now, you may be thinking that's a little bit extreme, but I'm going to explain this in detail. Modern cards and vintage cards are completely different games. In fact, they serve no similarities other than the fact that they're Pokemon cards. Vintage cards were not that rare to pull, though the chance of having them in high quality is very low, whereas modern cards are incredibly difficult to pull, though card preservation is completely different, so this kind of balances each other out, right? Now, with modern pop reports, there's really no reason to be buying PSA 9s for investing. To be honest, buying singles for investing is technically not investing, but I'm going to get more into that in a moment. Though with modern pop reports, it's just far more of an intelligent decision to focus on getting the highest quality of the grade. I mean, like Blaziken VMAX has like 3,000 copies of PSA 10, so it's just better to own the highest quality of that card. Now, one little tip I can give you here is if you want to collect the card, as if you just want to own the card and you don't care about the ups and downs in value, then grab whatever you like. It's just when it comes to investing, you really want the 10. Now, moving on to number 3, it is Adjuvant Pokemon products. These encompass all your secondary Pokemon products on the market, which include those, you know, V-Star collection boxes and all that, etc., etc. It's not that these products won't really grow in value. They might. It's more related to the search terms and how people interact when searching for Pokemon products. So I have a rule known as my 7-day eBay auction safeguard, which is just very simple. If for some reason I needed money and I needed to sell a product, I always ask myself, how well would my item sell on an eBay auction in 7 days? Now, these products like collection boxes can go either way, though historically a mainstream booster box from a mainline set would be more reliable when looking at this as a safeguard. The only way I'd buy these collection boxes or some of these kind of like ancillary products is if they are very under retail price and it's like a way too good of a deal to pass up on. Though then there's an issue with the storage issues, right? Because the plastics can be easily damaged and they can stack and they can cause damage on the boxes. And then they're just so easy to get little tears and rips on the cardboard, which ultimately pushes the price lower and lower down when you want to sell. Of course, there's always going to be products that outperform others, and some may become winners within the future, though this is just my own personal decision. Now, moving on to number 4, it is booster boxes that have begun rising in value. If I have missed the boat, I have missed the boat. Now, I'm speaking very much in investing terms, not collecting terms with this scenario. The whole point of investing is to buy the best product at the best price you can. For example, if I were to buy an Evolving Skies booster box today, it would not be for investing purposes. It would be for wanting it in my collection. It's very likely that it may grow in the future and still grow, but I'd need to put a lot of money down to have some skin in the game. Whereas I could buy nearly 6 whole Scarlet and Violet base set booster boxes for the same price on a good deal. Again, it's not that these won't rise in value, but if you've missed your boat and now you have to pay 50% or 100% more on a booster box, then it becomes really impractical. You should have already bought the product before that 50% rise happened. Now, a lot of investors sometimes don't have confidence, right? So they only start believing in a product when they see a market uptick. The best way to do it is to have that confidence before the uptick happens. Now, moving on to number 5. Now, this one isn't so much of a waste of money, though it is something that needs to be said. And that is, if I buy singles, I usually see singles as a collection rather than an investment. I mean, guys, just this year, single cards, have came from their lowest point in history to reaching their highest point in history, and now they're traveling downwards again. This doesn't really make sense as an investment, and it's really just way too volatile to be really taken seriously. Now, I'm not saying that singles won't rise in value. They most certainly can, right? But it's just, when I buy a single, I'm never thinking, oh, this is gonna 10x in value. I first think, would I love this in my collection? And that's how I make my decision if I buy a single. Because when I buy singles, the collector side of me is far stronger than the investor side. Because I've made a huge amount of mistakes in my early days, right? I'd load up on singles that I didn't even like because I thought they'd rise in value. And that's a very, very silly thing to do. Though there's something that needs to be said about Pokemon investing and Pokemon collecting. There's a lot of rules in this space that are not too clear cut. Though there are 4 specific pro tips that I believe every single investor needs to be aware of, and those tips are revealed within this video on screen right here. Within this video, I uncover the top 4 Pokemon investing pro tips and cover pop reports and look at historical data. This video has received a great amount of feedback, and I believe everyone in this space should watch this video. Click the video that's appearing on screen right now and I'll take you through it there.